Trucks. It's Isaac and Josh in the truck at last.
It has been a little while. We didn't do one of these last week.
After a week off, we stremmed last week. I noticed that you didn't upload the strem to the tube.
That's true. I should do that.
Yeah, there was 2 streams, and they were both good in their own ways.
Yeah.
One, you had a personal success, and in the other one, I had a personal success.
What was your personal success?
Getting you to play that game. It took a great deal of doing.
I suppose.
Yeah, I had to install it, test it.
You had to help me beat the challenge and the witness.
Yes.
We had to do that very difficult thing to guarantee that Final Fantasy Tactics would appear on
It's true. I'd like to think that I did help by pointing at the screen and going, ooh, 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 a few times.
Reviewing the stream, you definitely sped up a couple of those puzzles.
I
think it was a good team effort.
It's a collaborative process.
Yeah.
So today's trucks. I've been in a bit of a mood lately.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody is aware of this.
Yeah.
Everybody who lives in my house, at least. Maybe not everybody out in the wide world. I'm gonna say this early in the stream. I want to ask you about this, but it might not be kosher for trucks. So if it's bad, we can start over. That's okay.
But Nick tells me that you scared the shit out of him the first day we were gone. Apparently, there was like the sound of you making a terrible ruckus in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, that was me trying to unstick the silverware drawer. That while I was in the middle of cleaning roaches, and I left a big mess on the floor because I was cleaning out the roach-infested paper bags from under the kitchen.
Yeah. Nick texted me with concern. Before he remembered that we weren't in town, but
yeah,
he was afraid that it was some temper tantrum.
Yeah, no, that was not so much a temper tantrum as it was the silverware drawer becoming unstuck in an extremely spectacular fashion and raining silverware down across the.
But this is, I feel, instructive.
Across the kitchen. That he might believe that it was, in fact, me smashing things thrown into a violent rage. I got anger issues. This is a thing that is known by all and sundry. And, it's like anything that you have going on with you that you know is potentially destructive if you let it get away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a tendency maybe to drink too much or to engage in other destructive personal habits.
Sure.
And
whatever it may be.
Yeah, and as such, it becomes more difficult to deal with when you've got other stressful things on your mind.
Mm-hmm. You
have a tendency to fall off the wagon. And in my case, one of the wagons that I fall off is the not screaming at people wagon. Well, I don't really.
It's more like you snipe.
It's being like unduly mean to people in little ways. Microaggressions, which occasionally add up to macroaggressions.
So what is it you want to say about all this?
I mean, it's hard to know how to deal, right? Because partially I want to do this as a public apology to anybody who I might have been mean to lately, although I think I've managed to keep it relatively contained.
Sure.
It's one of those things where it's better to be upfront about it, I think.
It's true.
Than be like, hey, I got an issue and it can make me difficult to be around sometimes. And I totally understand if that is a reason why you might not want to hang out with me. Because it interacts poorly with certain other issues.
Right.
For example, Nick's tendency to catastrophize.
Right. I feel like I'm pretty good at dealing with it.
That's one of the reasons that our friendship is as enduring as it is that you have, elemental chill bones and are able to be...
I'm just good at reminding I think, it's a matter of understanding that it's an issue, less than... the way you put it last time we talked about it was that Monica and I are good at not believing you when you go into that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're patient, and there are reasons that you're patient, but it's also just a trait that you have.
Sure.
And some of my friends my friends tend to shake themselves out to either people who are good at being thick-skinned around me. Mm-hmm. Or are so incredibly thin-skinned that I have to watch myself at all times around them.
People who somewhat long to be your pain cipher.
Yeah, no, I mean that's definitely a thing. You start to notice these things about yourself, and like I'm not gonna like say, hey, Josh, volunteer something that you've noticed about yourself that's a bad habit. I just want to talk about like maybe these sorts of things in general, these interpersonal ruts that one falls into.
Yeah. I think I've been recently improving myself in some of these regards. I used to be a lot quicker to be an ass. Not in the like in what
which kind of ass are we talking? I mean we need to be slightly more specific about it.
Yeah,
let's
see. I mean it's still nebulous for me, I think, but I think I've how to put it? I guess like when I think back to how I used to act, I always had a kind of I'm more right than you are sort of attitude about me.
Oh yeah, being right is awesome.
Yeah, and I'm very good at being right, so it's understandable how I fell into that pattern.
That's true, man.
But I feel like I've been working on myself in that regard.
Yeah, I dealt with that by my relationship with my ex, who is way righter than me about everything, and so it helped me learn to be less right.
I'm gonna risk crashing to get this view here.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Oh my god, I'm going too fast. it's so hard to drive if the camera's anything other than perfectly straight.
I was driving the other day, and that song "My Friend Dario" by
Vitalik, right?
By Vitalik came on my iPod, and I was like, should I listen to this song that's about driving too fast and being about to crash while I'm driving down the turnpike? And it turned out it was fine.
Yeah, nice. But it's all about self-awareness and self-control.
You gotta be suggestible. It's like, I feel like if you know you've had a drink, you're slightly more careful about everything. Mm-hmm. If you've had too many drinks, that is no longer a defense, but
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yes. Back
so yeah,
this matter of self-diagnosis.
These matters of self-diagnosis and like, because there's such a huge gulp between such a huge gulp between noticing the thing and being able to stop the thing.
Yes, that huge gulp is when you swallow your gumption.
Yeah, and it's like there are always a limited amount of gumptions available in any given circumstances. And so you just sort of have to, like, at some point, let go of the idea that you're going to be a cool and awesome person under all circumstances and start instead to plan to avoid situations and circumstances in which you might become less of a...
But you also, I mean, it's important to say, you also need to avoid falling into misery about recognizing your faults, you know?
Yeah, I mean...
Which is a very easy thing to do. This way!
It's like that like noticing that you can be a shitty person, and then castigating yourself about it in lieu of doing anything else about it. A, does not prevent you from being a shitty person,
right? And
B, I think encourages you to be more of a shitty person because you have then at some level accepted your shittiness,
and you're just letting yourself fall into self-involvement there.
Yeah, it's a matter of like just being really wrapped up in your own misery. And it's like I think you gotta notice that you will do compensatory behaviors and then steer yourself toward the ones that work better. It's like for me, sometimes when I get angry, I will and like when I say get angry, I mean like 24 to 48 hours of simmering, right? I'll notice that this is happening, and I will be like, well, I should probably avoid people to the extent possible, but also, in order to make myself feel better about the situation, maybe I should do nice things for people. Like, and be really passive-aggressive about it. Still be nice and do stuff, Fuck! I'm gonna clean the kitchen!
Man.
It's like, it's like life gives you energy in unexpected ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes the key to getting stuff done is surfing along lines that are otherwise conduits to the bad zone.
What's the point of evolving complicated social traits if they just get us into so much trouble?
What's the point of evolving social and political philosophy when in the end it's all just about how much stuff you've got?
Yeah.
It's hard to, like, there was that sort of pseudo argument about Plato where I was joshing on Plato on my blog, and some guy was like, everything you've said here is incorrect. I was like, yes, that's true. However,
yeah.
The thing that I wanted to say to the guy but decided would not be a good use of my time or a good way to preserve the lightsomeness of the exchange was to say that it's really hard to take these lines of thought seriously when you can see their endpoints. And like,
what are you getting at?
Just the so much of the study of history and politics is about the elaborate ways in which people who are powerful and wealthy use power and wealth and who justify it. And like, you know, I'm totally happy to like bathe myself in some marks, you know, but the fact is that the society that I'm living in it doesn't even feel like it's the result of ideas, you know? And it's like, this is the sort of the study of classical philosophy and political philosophy is predicated on the idea that, you know, society comes from ideas, you know, ideas about democracy, justice, liberty. Oh God, people use the word liberty, the soul. It's like, it sounds so corny, outmoded. And it's like, man, I think I tend to think that people's is the same.
Yeah.
And I tend to think that what we tend to be shaped by and the way that we live tend to be shaped by is, on the one hand, necessity, and on the other hand, whim. And I feel like I live in a society that is been constructed by the greatest possible number of shortcuts to the greatest ease of the moving around of stuff.
Yeah.
And like, it's like I live in Windows.
Well,
I live in Microsoft Windows.
Boy, this is getting to be a really complicated
metaphor.
Metaphor, kind of arc from grumpiness to.
Oh, this is one of the things I'm grumpy about right now. Is that I resent living in Microsoft Windows. The thing, when you're in a sort of more diminished state, like things that you just sort of that pass you by as just being like, oh well, life, you know, suddenly start to seem like a personal affront.
Yes. Like
you can walk downtown and see really fancy shop windows and just be like, oh,
I can't believe you're doing this.
Iniquity. Yes. On display. How brazen are you for iniquity?
Interesting about this not being the result of ideas. I mean, they're not the intentional results of ideas, at least.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like it is in fact all the result of ideas, right? Because all of these systems are really complicated, and everybody along them had to justify what they were doing to themselves at some point or other.
Yeah.
And you know, we have documents where certain ideals were set out.
Yeah.
You know, at one point, it's kind of handy that way, actually. Like this country in particular is that we can like consult documents, which have ideas in them, and our polity is founded on ideas.
All these different administrations with their different philosophies, and we're constantly feeding off tasting the aftermath.
Yeah.
Licking our toes and eating our fingers, biting our fingernails.
I've lost the thread of what you're saying.
Just the cruft of previous political philosophies. We're caught up in the slipstream.
Living in the cruft. Right up in the cruft.
Floating out into the ocean of Reagan. The ocean of Reagan.
I see that you're also letting yourself go on the metaphor front today.
I'm far out there.
That's pretty far out, man. A thing that like was noticed widely in the last election is that you can have folks that are philanthropic, nice rich people running things, or you can have folks who think that it is the destiny of the rich to eat the poor running things. But you still have rich people running things, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's like the most liberal possible administration that you can elect in America is still going to be mostly concerned with making sure that money can move around freely. You know, that's going to be rule number one.
Yeah. Historically speaking, at least.
Yeah, I mean, certainly within the last...
Yeah, definitely.
50, 60 years.
Unless you consider the cold hard fact that Bernie would have won. The steel fact inscribed on stone tablets by Nostradamus. Bernie would have won.
No.
No,
that's
the biblical prophecy.
That's simply untrue. Bernie couldn't even win the fucking primary. How could he have won the general election?
They're different elections, Isaac.
Well, here. So as to that point.
No, let's not.
As to this point. I mean, one starts to wonder. It's like, particularly when the people in power are at their most distasteful, you really start to think about the efficacy of just killing rich people.
We do?
Yeah, stealing all of their things.
We wonder about the efficacy of it.
No, we don't wonder about it. We daydream about it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Which I think is
eat the rich and all that.
If Bernie would have won, it would have been because he advocates eating the rich.
Right.
He's the only man brave enough to advocate eating the rich. He said it. He said it. He said.
Did he say eat the rich?
We should eat the rich. He said. I believe that's what he said.
We can no longer abide by an America that refuses to eat the rich.
Exactly. I will work for an equitable system in which the rich are eaten.
I like it.
In large quantities. I don't know. But this if I can reel us tenuously back into the thing that I was trying to talk about before.
Let's do it.
This is just, this is a way that my tendency to be really angry all the time expresses itself.
What is? Wanting to eat the rich?
Wanting to eat the rich,
I mean...
I think it is the least harmful
absolutely
way that can express itself.
That is
I should endeavor to...
That is a worldly and well-justified anger.
If I am stuck with my resentments, and also keeping in mind that I come from more money than many, and by certain people's standards, my own parents would be right up there on the buffet. Mm-hmm. Well, some of my parents. A selection of my parents.
Yes.
I
think your parents would happily become class traders. At least some of them.
Is that how the rich could exempt themselves from being eaten, by becoming class traders, turning in the other rich?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's fair.
Inviting all of their lame dinner party friends to a dinner party.
What's being served tonight? The rich.
We'd love to have you for dinner, lame dinner party guests.
That's great.
Somehow we ended up talking about vor again. What is it with that?
It's coming. It's we feel it, and we feel it coming on the wind.
You can feel the vor zeitgeist.
Someone's gonna get eaten. It's either the poor or the rich.
It's gonna become politically mainstream at this point. Yeah. Cannibalism is truly the most potent socio-political metaphor available.
It's not even a metaphor.
It's a reality. Look at Oakland, man.
Well, we were going to cycle this back around.
They were eating people out there.
You were going to say something about...
Oh, no, I completely failed.
Did you have something in mind, or was it a...
I just wanted to tag the Grump business, and then circle it on back.
I mean, we can acknowledge that these current climes are not good for the Grump. We're all feeling it a little bit. Everybody's on edge. Like the despair, for many of us, those of us who are more sheltered from the direct effects of the horror, the despair has largely passed. Things have become normal in the way the slogans said that they never should.
Yeah, no, we definitely tell much the same jokes that we did before the advent of the horror.
Yeah. But even so, there's this gnawing thing, which is probably good in the end. It's good to let that remain.
It's feathers on the sticks, straws, camel, back.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
right. Spoons. It's a drain on one's personal resources.
Yeah.
And in one's internal triage, like the point where you might kick a puppy, you can arrive at that point in many ways. And I think in the current climate, right-thinking people are more likely to kick puppies.
Protect puppies from Isaac.
I've never kicked a puppy.
Protect the puppies.
I've done horrible things to cats.
What have you done to... I've heard you imply that you would throw a cat out the window if we ever got one.
I wouldn't throw a cat out the window, even though that would probably not harm a cat.
It's true.
Physically. It would stress it out, though.
Yeah.
No, I've not done that bad of a... Anyway, I think we better avoid this. Avoid this someday. Cats are awful, though.
Cats, I mean, I like them.
I understand, but
they're an aesthetically interesting pet.
You have to keep them inside or else they murder everything.
That's true.
So keep your cats inside. Or maybe I should move to New Zealand where you can shoot cats and be rewarded for it.
Oh my god, they have like a cat infestation?
I mean, yeah, it's like all those islands where all of the native wildlife evolved to focus on ridiculously complicated mating rituals rather than not being eaten by something like a cat because there wasn't something like a cat around.
Right.
If you put a cat in there, the cat will just be in kitty heaven and will eat everything, and you get like entire extinctions because of some cats that were there.
Like house cats, domesticated.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about like, you don't need anything but a house cat.
Right.
A house cat will murder the fuck out of anything that can't defend itself.
Man, oh man.
You didn't know this?
No, I did.
No, there's an actual bounty on cats.
It sounds familiar. When I see cats, I mostly see them like when they catch the thing that they want. They don't know what the hell to do with it. They just kind of bat it around.
Yeah, murdering it in the process.
And sometimes,
for the most part,
I guess.
They're like literally designed to do that. They're literally designed to catch and kill smaller animals.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what they do, particularly if you're not feeding them.
Right.
So yeah, keep your cats inside.
Yeah,
that's my advice. And then they can become incredibly important emotional surrogates to people, which
we could use a cat.
Grudgingly. Oh, as long as it had an appetite for cockroaches, yeah.
Yeah.
Surely there must be a more like manageable and low maintenance roach solution. How about a tarantula?
A tarantula. You think the tarantula is fast enough on its feet to kill all the roaches?
I mean, they must be able to. I mean, tarantulas feed on insects, do they not?
I think so.
Most of which are, a little bit more sprightly than a tarantula. The secret about tarantulas, they move really quickly.
I feel like that would give me the willies. I'm not particularly afraid of spiders, but I don't know.
Yeah, just a roach-hunting tarantula would give you the willies.
Just a tarantula on the loose. I never quite know when it's gonna shuffle over my foot.
I feel like, a free-roaming tarantula is probably not recommended even by tarantula enthusiasts.
Yeah. It's gonna get stepped on.
Yeah, no, we need a roach-hunting cat.
Yeah.
A cat who just loves kiting.
Anyway, were there any more thoughts on grumpiness that you wanted to get out?
I just needed to exorcise myself, really. Yeah. I've been feeling really toxic and full of unnecessary frustrations with my fellow human beings lately. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes you need a healthy way to let all of that out that doesn't involve stepping on other people's preferences in terms of, say, avoidance of personal, conflict or trauma. Drama, not trauma. I think people are reasonable to want to avoid trauma if at all possible.
I don't think Nick is going to watch this episode and catch that surrogate apology.
No, I mean, I'm not going to apologize to Nick. Nick can go fuck himself. But
poor Nick. No, Nick doesn't deserve any of it.
No, he doesn't. He's the
dynamic with Nick. Like he can bring a bowl full of chocolate into the house. Yeah. And say, I'm not really going to eat much of this chocolate. This is all for y'all. And Isaac can still, be super chilly towards him, during that very encounter. And I don't know, man.
It was the way he did it. No, see, this is exactly the kind of thing that I am aware is bad and cannot sometimes stop myself from doing.
Yeah.
So that's a tip, a hot tip to all y'all who might want to become my friend. I treat strangers way better than I treat people who are close to me.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
We got a moody beach.
Yeah, a moody beach to match my moody bitch. The one that lives inside my brain. Yeah, no, it's about time that I ended up going and making my round of mea culpas. I'm sorry I scared you with silverware, Nick.
I mean, it sounds like that wasn't really a faux pas on your part.
Not really, but the fact that he might expect it to have been volcanic shit dumping is is indictment enough in and of itself. I'm sorry that I gave you the cold shoulder when you brought us way too much Easter candy.
I've been eating so much of it.
I know it's kind of I feel it feels irresponsible, really. All that sugar just sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm gonna eat all that chocolate.
I'm slightly complaining.
I mean, God, they give all that chocolate to him. His parents think he's gonna eat it all.
I think that okay. I'm drawing the line that we're not going to
talk about
Nick's family dynamics.
Yeah. You're right.
I signed up on this Trucks to be slightly TMI about my own shit.
Yeah.
I'm not dragging anybody else's shit into it.
I wish I had some shit to be TMI about for parody, though. I can't think of any right now.
Your very chillness is kind of why you're in this cab, you know. But I'm sure that you'll snap eventually. And
I'll snap and do something wrong.
Yeah, Josh never does anything wrong.
That's not true. I guess I shouldn't speak on that.
Oh, really? So you don't actually want to bring the parody?
Huh?
You don't actually want to bring the parody?
What?
Don't want to speak the truth today?
What is the truth? I don't know.
What
I'm saying is that I don't think I'm fit to speculate, at least.
About what you are doing wrong?
Right. I fail to do things right. That's my main problem. I'm neglectful when it comes to housework.
Right. It's a passivity rather than an activity. That's That's what I mostly get mad at Josh about, is when I can't believe that there are only two people in this house who do anything to keep the house from falling apart.
It's not. That's an exaggeration.
Yes, but when the little rage monkeys...
I just want to clarify.
When the little rage monkeys speak to me, then their version of events is very persuasive, Josh.
Yeah,
even though I understand that it's not
I'm sorry
completely...
I'm sorry I don't clean enough. I know it's true.
It's okay.
I have to live in filth. It's how I pay for it.
I'm sure that if you minded, it would...
Who says I don't mind? Of course I mind. It impacts my mood. I don't like living in a gross room.
Then why?
Because of some unknown problem, I guess.
Boy, maybe you should talk to somebody about that.
Maybe.
A doctor? A filth doctor? A witch doctor?
Help me with my filth. This is if that was just the other way.
But see, this is this is the point, right? I mean, that's not the point, but this is the point: is that we all got these things that we are wrestling with, that we are able to make some dents in, but are ultimately powerless to affect.
You can never know yourself all the way.
That's true. And it's like, you know, if I were the kind of a person who could make it in the world and feel good about myself without really needing to be particularly inward looking, you know, maybe I'd be a Republican. Right?
This doesn't seem like it's going to work.
Maybe it's maybe it is the fact of like having to confront one's own inadequacies on a daily basis that is where the font of compassion is.
Maybe
you have to be compassionate for yourself and your many problems first.
Could be. I've never been super keen for the idea that the thing that distinguishes Republicans from, you know, Democrats or other leftists is selfishness versus selflessness.
No.
It's a little bit too of a self-serving way.
It's not. It's I didn't mean to put it in those terms. I don't think it's selfishness versus selflessness. I think it's like, if you find yourself largely able to cope with your own weakness and largely able to put in, you know, a reasonable amount of work and improve because of, you know, whatever stock you come from and whatever your goals are and your personal definitions of success, then the idea that a world without government assistance is a meritocracy makes a lot more sense, you know?
Sure, I guess I can see that.
Because it's everything that we believe in is ultimately derived from our subjectivity, like from our experiences of our own problems and then from the experiences of the people we love, first and second.
I'm not saying God damn it because of what Isaac said.
No, Josh is having...
God damn it!
Josh has been confronted with a real parking problem. It's like this iteration of this video game is going to make somebody a leftist. An iteration of the video game where we have that plum parking space that you can just slip into maybe people will start to make interesting moral conclusions based upon the ease of parking.
Boy, I'm losing the train of thought because this parking job is taking up a whole lot of my attention.
I'm really impressed with how far you've come already, my friend. There is so much time that you have to spend going backwards in order to make this work.
Yes, and it's really difficult to line it all up properly.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of an inside curve here.
You know, maybe that's why I did this trucks. I had to do this trucks in order to get around to the point where I could apologize to Nick for scaring him with silverware.
Yeah, or something.
You know, it's all part of my personal journey. And thank you guys for being a part of it tonight.
Hey.
Yeah. Meanwhile, our personal trucks journey is going to last approximately forever because this is insane.
I'm about to give up.
In the membrane. No, don't give up. Oh, you're so close, though.
I'm accidentally shifting into R4. It's not helpful. I'm going to clip through this.
Yeah,
It's gonna be fine.
Oh my god.
If you cannot start moving, maybe differential lock could help you. I've never received that tip before.
Well, you've never been stuck inside a concrete barrier before.
I've definitely been stuck on things in the past. It didn't tell me about differential lock then, did it?
Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Okay, so I think what I have to do is try and steer to the outside first. God damn it. There's like the perfect starting point here is where I'm struggling. I want to give up. I just want to give up on everything.
This is one of those moments where you can negotiate with your own limitations.
You gotta learn how to do it.
Yep. Just because it's hard doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Straighten out. Fuck, man. I'm not getting any closer.
I think you are.
I
think you got to believe in yourself.
See, I mean, I'm about to have to reverse everything I just did.
Steer into the corner. See what happens when you do that.
Which corner?
That little corner of...
On my right or on my left?
On your right.
You can go in here.
Go in there and then go out again. Yeah, now that you've straightened out.
Okay.
You can try to do a big arc.
Steer to the right. Oh dear.
No. To the left is probably what you want to do rather than to the right, yes.
Okay, let's go back in there. I'll go back in there. I'm not too confident about steering to the left. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
I think you ought to steer to the left.
Let's try it.
Travel in a big loop. Oh, yes. Your butt is pointing in the right direction.
I'm now steering to the right. The turning radius, man, it's brutal.
Oh my god, it's so roots.
Okay, maybe this is the one.
I believe that Josh is our future. Oh my god. Oh, you don't have it, but you're much closer than you've been.
I'm on the path to getting it. That's for sure. I should
have kept going with that curve.
Yeah, I should have. But this time we got it.
Yeah, no, this is...
The guy's waiting for me to drop this load off. Really just...
I mean,
this fucking guy again.
They're going to break into a spontaneous round of applause.
We never mentioned, by the way, we got the Digger 500. Look at that piece of equipment. Beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I
knew you could.
We did it in the end.
And that's an excellent trucks.
It's all...
well, good work.
It's all let this be encouragement to those of you who believe yourself stuck in a rut, unable to improve.
Yeah, sometimes you can break out of that pattern. I can't. My current bullshit, but at least I can shove myself onto the next station of the cross, which is the apology tour.
Trucks is over.
Bye, everybody.